Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well. Getting a little bit of a later start on the No Closure Show today. It's obviously very, very hectic here. Here he is today. I'm in Baltimore today. Going to be speaking tonight at the BWI meeting group, so I'm really looking forward to that. But today's topic of the show is, I've gotten several emails, phone calls from people talking about, hey, they're having private money raising conversations with their database. They're getting phone calls from some of their marketing. And so what I wanted to talk about today is some of the tips that you can use to be better prepared or give a better presentation when you're talking to your database or potential private money funding sources. The first thing that you want to provide to people is you want to build a rapport. That's the first thing. Building rapport is all about identifying with them and talking with them and sharing a little bit. And you can't go straight into business because some people get a little offended that way. I know others, you don't want to spend an hour talking about bullshit and skating around the fact that what you got to get to. So I always like to say, if I'm going to talk with somebody, try to be 5-10 minutes, say, hey, what's going on? Pay attention, what's going on? Hey, do you have kids? What's going on in your life? How's your holidays? Those kind of things. And that always helps. It kind of eases that wall that people have when you're talking or talking to them. But now, that's a different story if they call you directly. Hey, tell me a bit more about what you're focused on. And that's a good thing. Now, eventually you want to get to the, hey, I want to, thanks for coming to meet with coffee. Let me get into what I'm telling you about. Now, the key is not to have diarrhea of the mouth or throw up everything on people when you're talking about it, because new people have a tendency to want to give too much information, and it overwhelms them. It's like if you ever try to go buy a house, okay, you don't go look at 40 houses. A good realtor will identify five houses or a few assets, a few houses, and then pick from there. If you give too much information, too many options, it's going to confuse the people, your investors, your friends, colleagues, potential funding partners, and they're not going to do anything. And confusion leads to inaction. Okay? Totally leads to inaction if you're confused. If somebody's confused, you've got too much information, it's scary. It will scare them and I don't understand it, and they'll move on. So what you have to have when you're talking to people, you've got to have a kind of a clear path, clear path of action. All right, here's the program. And it's okay to practice your discussion before you go meet with people. I'm so amazed at how few people role play before they talk to somebody. Now, some people do, and that's great. They usually come out in the head. But if you don't, you're going to get nervous. And a lot of times nervousness comes from not knowing what people are going to ask. So if you're talking to somebody, you have a presentation, you got a couple of deals, hey, grab a friend. Grab somebody, your family, your spouse, and role play with them. And they'll ask you questions that will probably pop up from time to time, because a third party outside source may not know. So that's always a good thing. All right. So the third thing that you want to do is it's okay to have flyers. It's okay to have something to guide it. It works as an outline of the deal, outline of the conversation. Here's a non-performing asset. What is that non-performing note? Well, it's somebody who's not paid their mortgage, or it's a contract for deed. It's somebody that was owner finance, did a lease option. Okay, it's somebody that we're doing owner financing on. Whatever the deal is, share that deal. All right. And I always tell people, hey, ask questions as I go. All right. It's important to ask questions so that I know what you're thinking, because if you get to the end and you don't understand what I'm talking about, I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste my time. And I actually say that. Okay, I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste my time. It's important to do that. So you have a little outline, and what I like using is a picture of the property with some specifications: bed, bath, square footage, where it's at, what's so great about the asset. And it all comes about, really, the people that are the best at raising capital are the ones that tell stories better. Okay, so tell a story about that asset. Here's an occupied asset, and from doing the research, we see that she's still working, or he's still working. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot house. Rent rate is $800. Her mortgage payment is $500. That makes sense, and this is why I think this would be an easy modification. She would have to pay more than what her mortgage is. That's why we think it'd be best for her to stay in a house. That's why we work with her. But that $500 makes sense for a mortgage payment, because the fact is that we're picking this up at $12,000 or $20,000 or things like that. So sharing information, telling the story about the deal. Now, once you buy the note, what's the strategy? Because investors will have basically three questions. One, can they trust you? That's why building rapport is important. You may even want to include, if you don't know this individual or it's been a referral, have a credibility kit. This could be deals that you've done. Now, if you haven't done a lot of deals, it's okay. You can still have a credibility kit by sharing who your resources are, your servicer. You may even have a logo. Here's my servicer. Here's my special company does all the borrower reach out. So what I'm doing, here's my attorneys. Here's who I've learned from. Here's where I've been mentioned in the paper. Here's my background. It's like a resume for your business. You may even want to have like a one-page executive summary of what you focus on, because we've been using executive summaries for years, and people love it. They take it with them. It gives them, it's 4 or 5 paragraphs, 2 or 3 is on the business, one's on my education, and one's on me. All right, so that's a great thing to have if you need a little bit of a credibility kit, and that's okay. Well, that's great, George. If you're brand new to this, hey, here's who I use for this. Okay, some people have even put me down in the credibility kit. Hey, here's Scott Carson. I learned from him. I'm also part of his mastermind. That's when we talk about people at the mastermind. Using a picture of the mastermind, it gives them a bigger group that you're part of. If you go to a real estate club, put down that you're a member of the BWI meetup group. And if they've got a group photo, use that. Hey, I'm a part of this group. Here's a resource that I use when I have questions. I can go to Andy Spagnola in Baltimore and ask questions about deals or things like that. I can always pick up the phone and call this guy. All right. I can pick up the phone and call Stephanie if I need help with something. Share those resources. It's important because most people, if they're not invested in real estate or they don't know the business, they don't know these things. And those are great features to have to share things. Oh, here's my attorney, and here's his contact information. Here's the collateral company. Those are all things you need to have anyway in a business. You might as well share it so it looks like you're prepared. All right, here's my logo of my company. Here's my George Crocker LLC or whatever it is. Or I'm the head of a major podcast called Note MBA Podcast. Is something that I do on a regular basis. Like Chase Thompson has built some credibility there. Or like Sean could put Sean, who just joined us. Sean could say we're with Ironclad Investments or Ironside Investments. Here's our logo and here's our entity. We're located here and here's where we focus on. And here's the deals that we've done already. Okay. So that's the important thing. Here's the deals that we've done already, or here's the deals that have been surrounded, and here's the deal that we're working through. Here's one example of the types of deals that we do. Here's the deal that I'm working on. Are great ways to share. So just tell the story. It doesn't have to be long. Here's what the value is. Here's what we're picking it up at. Here's what we expect, how long it will take, 12 to 18 months, okay? And here's the expected ROI, okay? And here is how you are secured. It's a first lien position. This is one thing I always make sure and share when I'm talking to any people. You're secured in a couple ways. I only buy in first lien position. Okay. Second thing is low investment to value. We're not going to pick up anything less than 50% of value or more. Okay. Thirdly, we deal with attorneys. I'm not the one having to deal with this stuff. We'll put the fourth thing is we'll deal with insurance on the property, protect yourself. Okay. So those are the 4 major things. The 5th thing I always like to tell people is, listen, once we foreclose out the note, we'll throw a lien on the property in the amount that you owe, so you're protected on a first lien position as well. Or, if something does go wrong, you're at a low investment to value, you can take the property back and still be in a good position to make money on the deal. Those are the 4 or 5 things I always share when I'm talking to people about investments. It's like, here's how your money's secured. Here's what it's focused on. Here's the collateral. Right, because that's what people want to know when you're talking. You want it to be not a 2-hour long. If you find somebody that's going to ask you weird, oddball questions off the blue, there's a fine balance. Some people ask them because they have legitimate questions, but if somebody's just being a dick or being a prick and just doing things if they constantly interrupt you, I would not work with them. Okay, if they are rude and an a-hole, don't work with them. This is a no a-hole business, okay? You don't have to work with people that are rude. You don't have to work with people that you don't like. You don't have to work with people you don't like. You have to have the next mentality, as I like to say when raising capital. If somebody says no, it's on to the next person. It's on to the next email. It's on to the next BWI meetup group. It's on to the next person that I'm going to talk to, all right? So I see people that send one email out to their database, and that's all they send. They get no responses. They only get one response, and they get frustrated. I'm like, why? There's no reason to be frustrated it's an email. It didn't cost you anything. You're building your notoriety. You're helping change the image that people look at you. Because I think we've all come from different personalities. I mean, if you're a ex-mortgage broker, or an ex-hairstylist, or we've got a coach or a preacher, people see you in that line of work. People see you for being that type of person. Okay, they don't know you as Sam McMillan, the investor, or Sam McMillan, Sam McMillan. Maybe we need to call you Sam McMillan. Just Sam McMillan. I think I like that for you, Sam. Might need to be a new marketing tag for you. But anyway, they don't see you as a successful real estate investor or a real estate mogul. So you've got to share that by getting the word out on what you're doing on a regular database. This is why your emails, your Facebook posts, this is why you have to use the simple things of getting an entity, getting a logo, and some of the things to start branding yourself, so they don't see you as Scott Carson, ex-banker. They see you as Scott Carson, real estate investor. Does that make sense, everybody? Shout out to people there that are joining us today on this stuff. What questions do you guys have when it comes to talking with potential private money investors? One thing that you don't want to do is leave things hanging. You want to try to get you want to get the answer. Hey, that buying, are you good to go? What do you think? How's it sound for you? Would you like to get started? The simple thing I always like to tell people, if I'm out having a meeting with people, is if somebody's interested, I always like to ask the question, okay, where are your investments at? What are they invested in right now? All right, that'll give you a good idea to find out what type of returns they're looking for and their experience. Okay, if somebody says CDs or bonds or mutual funds, it'll be basically just a low return investment. If somebody says they've done flip some homes and things like that, and then it's a little higher investment. So that's important to keep in mind. If they tell you, the amount that they're looking to invest, you got to know that's kind of a buying question. Oh, I got 50. Okay, great. That means they probably have 100, or you probably should start them off at like 25. That's one thing I always tell people. Somebody comes to me, I got 200, 300, 100. I always take that number, divide it in half. I said, let's get you started on doing something below what you want to. Let's get you started, make sure we get along really well. Okay. Another thing I do is I have people. Excuse me? No, you're good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Yep. Gotta love the service here. I'm at the BWI Marriott, and just amazing service across the board. We're in the executive lounge. But anyway, I always like to ask a buy-in question to people is, can I get you, the next step, like, what do we got to do next? Well, the next step I need you to do for me is send me proof of funds and a pledge letter. And I don't take them serious as a true potential JV partner or funding partner unless I have that. It's an email. And it's not anything difficult. Hey, George, it was great visiting with you at Starbucks the other day. I've attached my statement for my Quest IRA account. I'm interested in getting started at 25K or 50K. So I'm trying to get my feet wet. Those are simple things. Those are buy-ins. The reason you want those things is because if they do flake on you and you've got them pledged in as your funding source on a deal, that's your out. You call the hedge fund, you call me up and say, Scott, I had a guy that was supposed to fund this deal and he just walked. Okay, did you get a pledge letter and a statement from the individuals? And if you say yes, like, okay, great, you did what you're supposed to do, people are going to flake, let's move on, let's find a backup source for you. Okay, but if you didn't do that, they didn't have a yes along the way. They didn't have a series of yeses. Yes, we're going to get going. Yes, I'm going to pull the statement. Yes, I'm going to send you a pledge letter. Those are 3 buy-in yeses along the way that people do that know that they're serious. If they never send you those things, they're not focused. It's not worth wasting their time on. George asked the question here, is there a limit of what you offer the SDIRA percentage-wise? Guess it is according to what note you're looking at. Well, George, it depends. You're always going to have JV partners who are either going to be a flat ROI. This is why you ask, what have you invested in the past? Because if somebody's only investing in stuff if they're making 3-4%, one of the questions I like to ask people, well, if you're making 3%, if I can show you triple that at like 9%, would you be interested? What's the answer going to be? Yes, show me how to do that. So that's great. Then you're at 9. Okay. Well, you don't want to go up and say, "Oh, I'm going to offer you 15%," and they're used to making 3. That's going to scare them a little bit. And this is one thing that I struggled with when I came out of banking. I was like, "Oh, I could make a higher return," so I would go to my banking clients who are making 1 and 2% in CDs. Oh, I can make you 12%. I'm like, "Whoa! You told us that was risky." You have to realize banking and financial institutions has brainwashed an American into thinking what type of returns they can get. That average mom and pa can get. 1 to 4 is safe. 4 to 8 is mid risk, and then anything over 8 to 12 is a risky type of investment. That's brainwashed into society today at the banks. All you gotta do is go sit down with a banker, and that's exactly what they're gonna pull out prospectus. I only say this because I was one of those. That's what I was trained on. Okay? Why is it that? Well, the banks only want to pay that low interest rate because they're going to go out and make the 15, 20, 25, 30% yields, and they arbitrage those funds at the lowest interest rates. Okay? So ask your potential funding partners or your friends, or if they're talking to you, how's that working for you? How's your 401k working for you? How's that certificate of disappointment working for you? When you find out it's a low interest rate, that's when you say, listen, if I could offer you double that, triple that, would be something to be interested in. If it was secured by real estate, would you be interested? And the answer is yes. Yes, I would be interested. Oh, yes, so excited. Tell me more, George. Tell me more, Sam. And that's the great thing about it. Then you've got a lower interest rate. You're not giving up more profit than you really need to. I had somebody call me the other day, I'm offering somebody 12%, and I'm looking at a deal here, and it's just not going to make sense at 12%. I'm like, well, why did you offer 12%? Why don't you just do an equity split? You still make some money, because on the profit on this one deal, most of it was on the back end. It didn't really make sense for a loan mod along the way. It made more sense on the back end to either A, loan mod it, and then sell it off after 12 months, or foreclose and have a windfall at the foreclosure sale. And she was like, well, I don't know. I just wanted people to come to me at 12%. Well, you got to pay that person at 12%. You're not making any money. You might even be losing some money. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do a skinny deal like that. So once you go back to your funding partners, if they would split the deal with it, because it would then still be about an 8% ROI on the front end and a bigger ROI in the back end with the sell-off. So don't pigeonhole yourself into one specific thing. Like, I have always done a lot of 50-50 equity splits, which is great in some cases because I'm not paying out monthly payments, but I also develop a ton of profits in the back end as well too. So something to keep in mind. Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? Any things you guys are struggling with out there that are making things happen out there? I want to thank a huge turnout on the Monday Note webinar, and then also yesterday's replay of the Note Funding League. You're welcome, George. I got offers coming in. We still got a few. We have some of the performing notes that are still available. We're about to send another marketing piece out regarding those. Start looking for posts on Facebook on some of those performing notes. I've got a list of investors that are looking just for turnkey stuff that we're going to advertise out as well. And I'll be talking about some of the deals here tonight in Baltimore for people too. So if you're interested in getting some offers in, get them in to myself, send them to Jennifer at WeCloseNotes.com, or send me over at Scott@WeCloseNotes.com on what we talked about Monday night and Tuesday yesterday morning regarding the Note Funding League and those 21 assets. So if there aren't any other questions, we'll wrap it up for the day. We'll let you guys get going back to your afternoon or your mornings in California or here in the East Coast or wherever you're at. I'm going to jump on, finish tweaking up my presentation for tonight, and look forward to seeing anybody here in the Baltimore area. Okay? Thank you, Nicole. Thanks for posting that, everybody. Have a great day, evening, everybody, and we'll see you guys at the top. Bye, everybody. Oh, Cody asked a question. Am I streaming tonight's presentation? Probably not. I'm not going to stream the REI. It's going to be my similar 3 F's of note investing on a find, fund, and flip, Cody. With a few tweaks for it. I was looking down here last night as far as reception and stuff. I don't know if it'll live stream too well. We'll see what Steph's phone can do when she's down here with me. She might streamline some of it. Let's see what goes on. So otherwise, we'll do another 3Fs one at a later date. So thanks for asking. Hope your shoulder's feeling better, Cody. All right, get to feeling better, and we'll see you guys all later. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.